What's up everyone? It's Rayvon from Luv Lola. Welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be very fancy all put together. It's just basically going to be kind of like a sew along. What it is I got an order for this bag. I made this bag a couple of years ago and it's been on my website and I just had someone order it. So I'm about to make it today and I thought why not do a video to show how I make it just in case anyone else is interested. This is a super easy bag to make. This is the Heidi Clutch by Swoon. And it comes in a small and a large size. This is the large. This pattern might be free. I'm not sure. I can't remember because it's been a couple of years since I got it. But I think this might be a free pattern. But whether it's free or not, it's a great pattern and I highly recommend it. And so I did do a little bit of modification to this bag because I wanted the fringe, baby. It's about to be rodeo season here in Houston, which is what inspired me to make this in the first place. And I just so happened to get this order right before rodeo season, so I'm all about fringe anyway. So anyway, yeah, so this is a clutch. It does not come with a handle or a crossbody, but I had to modify it because that's just me. I have to have a crossbody on the bag. That's going to be mine. And then I thought the handle would be cute. I'm actually not going to be making it like this today because it's been a couple of years since I made this bag and my bag making has evolved a little bit and I'm just not feeling the way I did this handle. So it's going to be a little bit different, but there's going to be a handle there. And yeah, I just thought this would be a fun kind of sew along project for us to do together. So that's what we're going to do. If you are a beginner bag maker, I highly recommend this pattern because it is super easy, but you still get the results of like a really fancy, you know, bag, right? So don't be intimidated. I'm going to walk you through it step by step. It's going to be super easy. Let's see. For the cowl material, I got this from Hobby Lobby. Again, this was years ago, but I do believe that this comes and goes because at one point I couldn't find it and I remember driving all over Houston to different Hobby Lobbies until I finally found the store that had some left and I bought the rest of it. I think I bought like 3 yards at the time, but I think that since then it has come back. So just check out your local Hobby Lobby. Check out the website. Hobby Lobby's website is kind of funny, you know, no shade, but I feel like it hasn't been updated since like the 90s. Like all the stuff that's in the store isn't necessarily on the website, I don't feel like. I don't know. But anyway, you should be able to find it. You know, if I can find a link for it, I will put the link down below the video, all right? This, oh no. For the brown material, I'm going to be using this. This is from this is from Joann's. You can find this at Joann's. I believe it's called California something. I'm not sure. Don't make me lie to you. But I will find the link for it and put it below this video in case you are interested. That's the true color right there. Oh my gosh. So hard to get things correct with the lighting. I have purchased so many different lightings in my desperation of getting the right lighting for my videos. And I don't even have any of them on right now because I just get so frustrated. Sometimes it's too much, it's too little, the light. But I just purchased a bunch of stuff off of Amazon. I'm kind of excited. I just opened them up. Some of the stuff I don't remember what it is. It's been about a week since this came in. I haven't had time to open it. But anyway, I've got some new stuff for recording. I actually have a new speaker that I have plugged in right now. I hope that it's on. I don't even know. I'm horrible with stuff like this, you know. But I have it plugged into my camera, so I'm hoping. So if you watch my videos, if you feel like I sound a little bit better today than usual, then awesome. Leave me a comment and let me know because I think that my new speaker is on. Anyway, yeah, I got some goodies. I got this light. that you cannot see. And I've got this new thing for holding my phone because now I'm going to have it different angles available since I'm going to start recording more. I got this remote control for my camera so I don't have to keep reaching while I'm recording. I can just use my remote control. Yeah, I got some goodies. I'll get them all added to my Amazon storefront so that you can check them out if you're interested. But yeah, I think that's about it for now. So we can go ahead and get started cutting this bag up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get all of my pattern pieces cut out, but I'm going to cut back when I start working on my fringe so that I can show you how I do that. Okay, so the first time I did this bag, I left this top part with exposed edges. And I don't think I want to do that today. So what I'm going to do is when I cut my piece out, my accent piece, I'm going to add, I also want this accent piece to be a little bit more. I want it a little bit higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add probably about 1 inch to 1.5 inches to the height of this piece. And that way I'll be able to fold over the top so that there aren't any exposed edges. And I'll also be able to just have a little bit more coverage. So that's just a little modification that I'm going to be doing. You feel free to do what floats your boat. You know, that's the beauty of making a bag. You can make it look however you want it to look. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, it's about to get real, y'all. It's time to get out the big cutting mat. That's when you know you're really about to start sewing some stuff. Okay, so for the fringe on this bag, I'm going to be cutting this about 22 by 24 inches. I think that's what I wrote down, yep. Let me get my rotary cutter. I just went to Home Depot and purchased this ruler. It is 1 yard long, so 36 inches. And this from Hobby Lobby comes about 26 inches high. It's not a full yard, so because it's already 26 inches, I'm just gonna leave it at 26 inches. So it's gonna be a little bit longer than my original one, but it's fine. And now I want to do it 24 inches. So it needs to be 22 inches wide, and then the height you can do whatever you want. For this one, the fringe was about 24 inches long, but like I said today, I'm going to do a 26 because that's what this length is. Okay. So it needs to be 22 inches this way because we're going to fold it in half, right? Because we want there to be fringe on both sides. Does that make sense? We don't want the back of the vinyl showing, so we're going to be folding it so there's fringe on both sides of the back. Okay? Alright, so I'm measuring 22 inches. Okay, so here's the fun part. We're gonna get these fringes cut. So I cut mine about 1/4 of an inch. I'm not gonna be measuring it. I'm not gonna be drawing lines because who has time? I'm just going to place my ruler at about 1/4 of an inch. And we're not cutting all the way to the top, okay? We're gonna be leaving about 1 inch of uncut material at the top. So if it would help you, you can draw a line across the top about 1 inch down. So you'll have that line to reference while you're cutting, and you know. Oh, I just realized I forgot to put my mic back in. All right, there we go. Who buys a mic and forgets to use it? Okay, so I drew a line about 1 inch from the top, and now I know that's where I need to stop cutting. Almost halfway there. Okay, so here's a tip for you. If you are using a ruler like me and not drawing the lines and not using a grid ruler, then it may start to get, your measurement may start to be a little bit off, if that makes sense. So what you want to do is when you're about halfway down with your fringe, go ahead and measure the material that you have left that you haven't cut yet from where you stop your fringe over to the side at the top, and also measure it at the bottom. And if there's any difference, any kind of discrepancy at all, go ahead and start fixing that, so that when you get to the end, you don't have to have one random cut fringe, like, you know, uneven for it to work. So I hope that makes sense. So like just now, I measured mine, and the top part is about 1/2 inch longer still than the bottom. So what I'm going to start doing now on my next few fringes, I know to increase my top just a tiny, tiny bit, so that the fringe is a little bit wider at the top than it is at the bottom. I hope that makes sense. So, not a lot where it's going to be noticeable. I'm talking like not even 1/8 of an inch wider at the top than at the bottom. And once I do that a few times, it's going to even everything back out, so that by the time I get to the end, it's going to be a straight line, okay? Alexa, turn music back on. Whew. All right, finish. All right. Okay, so we're gonna get started. I want to go over a few things with you really quick. I'm going to be working on my handles first. I can get those out of the way because I've decided the way I'm going to add them to the bag, they need to be, you know, they need to be prepared first. So, interfacing. I interfaced everything with Decaville Light, actually. I was going to use Sewfuse Plus, and then I remember that my friend Michelle sent me some Decaville Lights. I decided to use that instead. So, I've interfaced all of my main pieces with that. I also interfaced my lining. So I'm using, this is kind of like a muslin canvas. It's got a nice feel to it. So I'm going to be using that as my lining and as a pocket. I'm going to make a little bitty slip pocket and also a zipper pocket. All right, I want to go over this piece. So when I made this bag originally, this piece was, the edges was exposed along the top of the bag. But this time around, I don't want to have exposed edges. So this is exposed. If I was to leave it exposed this time, I would go ahead and use edge paint because it's not my bag. You know, I'm selling this one. I was okay with me having that like that. But if I'm going to be, you know, selling this, then I'm going to make it look more professional. And so I'm going to edge paint. But I decided I don't want to do the edge paint. I'd rather just fold it under and have it just not be exposed edges. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So in order to do that, what I did was after I cut this piece out, and I cut this piece out wider than the original pattern because I just wanted it to be a little bit wider. Just my personal preference. Once I got this piece cut out, I grabbed my template and all I did was scooted it down. Is scooted a word? You know what I mean. I slid it down about 1/4 of an inch, and then I drew a line. I drew basically just the top of that template again. Then when I cut out my interfacing, I cut out the shape and then I placed it along that line. So now when I go to bend this, I will have that to kind of be my guide. All right. So that's what I'm going to be doing for that. And that's going to be on both pieces. So we'll deal with that later. I just wanted to show you what I did. I did interface this. I did interface the whole thing, and the reason why I didn't, because I didn't feel like I needed it because my bottom piece is interfaced already. And this material is thick, so you cannot see where the lines of the interfacing stop. So that's why I wasn't too concerned with interfacing the whole thing. My main objective was just to make sure that I got this up there. All right, I went ahead and did one of the handles. Come on, focus, baby. All right. Now we're gonna do the other one. I'll show you exactly how I did that. This is such a fun way to do a handle. I totally forgot about it. I first saw this. I saw it for all over the place, but the first tutorial I saw for it was lavender and twine. So you can go, and I'm going to show you how I did this one. The measurements are going to be different, but if you want like the original pattern for it that I saw, I'm sure there are others, but the one that I originally saw the first time was lavender and twine. I'll try to remember to put a link for that down below in this video. Okay. So this handle is 3/4 of an inch. So I cut my main piece 3/4 of an inch, and I wanted it to be 15, I think it is 16 inches long by 3/4 of an inch. So the piece that you want to be your middle piece, that's gonna have, you know, the piece in the middle, that's the length that I did mine. And then I cut this piece on the outside, I cut it the same length, and I did it 2 inches wide. Now 2 inches wide is cutting it pretty tight on when you wrap it around. So if it's your first time doing it, or you feel like you can cut it a little bit longer, you can do 2 1/4. And if you've never made this handle before, just take my word for it, cut it 2 1/4 the first time and play with it and see if you feel comfortable leaving it that length. And if you want to cut it down to 2 inches, you can cut it down to 2 inches. The first time I ever did this, I remembered I struggled with getting it over, but now, I don't know, I've just gotten better over the years. So just, you'll see what I'm talking about once you start playing around with it. Okay, so to do this, I don't interface this second piece that you're going to wrap around, because you're wrapping it around very tightly, and if you have interfacing on it, it's going to be hard. Now this piece, because I didn't interface the first piece, I wanted it to have, you know, some sturdiness to it. So I interfaced this piece twice. I lie, I think I interfaced this in 3 times. I did 1 layer of Decapole Light, and then I did 2 layers of Sewfuse Plus, because I wanted it to be pretty stiff. And it feels great. Now do what your machine can handle, okay? Be conscious of what you're sewing with, and if you don't think you'll be able to go through all of that, then don't do it. So now I'm going to take this, I'm going to place it right down the center on that line that I drew earlier. And you want to do your best to get it as centered as possible. If you need to use a ruler, then use a ruler. I'm going to just go for it. All right, that looks good to me. Okay, so now I am going to fold this in until it touches the middle piece. Okay, we're here, and I'm folding it in till it touches, just like that. And once I fold it in, I'm going to just give it some pressure so that it can have a little bit of an indentation right there, and that's just going to help me when I get ready to build it again. Now, don't push it too tight against that middle strip because we're going to be folding it again, and you don't want it too tight because then it's going to fight you a little bit. Okay, kind of like when we make a strap and we always say fold it to the center but don't go quite to the center. It's the same theory. So just up to that strap but not really hugging it. All right, now once I've done that, I'm going to fold it in and I'm going to just fold it again. And now it's okay to push against it a little bit, but don't push too hard because you don't want to start making this middle piece shift around. You want it to stay where it is. So you can push against it a little bit, but just not too much, okay? And now I'm going to secure it with a pin. I'm going to move down a little bit, repeat that again. Alexa, what time is it?
Good afternoon, Rayvon. The time is 2:37 p.m.
All right, I gotta get this done before my baby gets off the bus. Cause it's Friday. I know she's gonna be ready to turn up, honey. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and I'm going to sew one side at a time. So let's get this on. I am using my guide to keep this as straight as possible. If you have something like that, then by all means, bust it out. Okay, now I'm going to repeat the same thing to the other side. And now this time, you definitely can push against it as hard as you want because it can't shift. It's already been sewn on the other side. Tweezer to push down on this so that it doesn't slide as I'm sewing it. Just for safety measures, because if it slides a little bit, then it's going to miss that strip that's down the middle. That's what I meant when I said that you may want to make your outside piece a little bit bigger, because it can get tricky to make sure that it doesn't slide off the side, okay? So I do recommend playing around with this type of handle before you make it for real, because it can be easily messed up, okay? Alright, the next thing I am going to do is my handle. This is going to be a crossbody. I've cut it, I don't remember how long, but however long you want it to be. Get that cut. My handle is going, my strap is going to be 3/4 of an inch, so I cut this 3 inches wide. Now I'm going to fold it towards the center. Oh, I interfaced half of it because I didn't want it to be, I felt like it needed a little interfacing to feel the way I wanted it to be, but if I interfaced the whole thing, I think it would have been a little bit too thick. So I just did interfacing along half of it, okay? And I did Sewfuse Plus for that. Now I'm folding it in towards the center from both sides. Not exactly touching, but almost. And then I fold it again. And that's going to give me a 3/4 of an inch strap. Alright, and now we're just going to sew around the entire thing at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I am going to be using 3/4 inch hardware today. Alright, I'm going to be using 3/4 inch hardware for today. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my strap, and I want it to be right side facing up. And I'm going to run it up and over. And then you can either secure it with a couple of stitches, or you can use a rivet right there. Okay, and now I'm just going to run this strap up and over. And you can secure it with a few stitches, or you can add a rivet, whatever you prefer. I think I'm going to just go ahead and get a rivet added. And then I'm also going to get a strap in put on.
Hey, you know that tree's down in your front yard?
Yeah, that branch.
Some little tree. Ray said, yeah, you know. No. All right.
Shit's falling apart. Now our strap is wrong side facing up, and I'm just going to run my hand all the way down. When I get to the other side, I'm going to run that strap through my swivel hook. And back over, making sure that it doesn't twist. When I get back here, I'm going to, and now this piece, we're just going to run it up and over. And on the other end, we're gonna just add our other swivel hook. Again, you can add a stitch or a rivet. I am going to do a rivet. I'm going to go ahead and set my rivet. Alright, and now I'm going to get my strap ends put on. Alright, and our adjustable strap is done. It's always fun to do that early so that you can, when you finish the bag, you can just throw everything together. And it's already, you know, you finish the bag and you can just throw the straps on and you're good to go. Okay, so that's that. Now what we want to do is, okay, so I wanted my strap connectors to be tiny, so I'm going to be using 1/2 inch connectors. What I did was I cut these 1 1/4 inch by 1 inch. And then I drew a line long way, double-sided tape, and then folded into that line. Now I'm going to run that through, and I am going to just base the bottom to hold it shut. If you want to, you can stitch along the perimeter. I just didn't think it's necessary because it's so tiny. You know what? I'll go ahead and do a stitch. Why not? Why not? Okay, now I'm going to go and baste these together. Okay, so my clutch is 12 inches wide, and I've cut my zipper 10 3/4 inch long. Now that's a personal preference. If you want yours to be a little bit longer, I like to do mine this way to keep it away from my side seams. So I've got this cut, and now I am going to get my zipper put on. Really quick. I am using a number 5 zipper. Zipper and zipper pull is available on my website. Alright. Now the side that is going to be opening, so the side that the zipper is pointing towards, That's the side you're going to open. And you're going to fold it at about 1/2 inch mark. And basically what you're doing is, so about 1/2 inch in, you're going to squeeze so that the underside of the zipper is touching each other. And it's going to make it box. And then you're going to add a stitch right there on the end to hold it. Okay, so you see that? About 1/2 inch in. You're just going to pinch the material. And when you pinch it, it's going to make this fold into a 90-degree angle. I changed my camera angle up, and so it's kind of weird for me to get close and show you. But I hope that makes sense. I purchased a remote control that's supposed to turn off and on my recording and also zoom in and all that, but it's not working. I just opened it and paired it and everything, and it's not working, so I'm gonna have to send that back. Frustrating. Okay, so for my zipper tab, I like a small zipper tab. So I cut my piece 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch. I drew a line, and then I put a little bit of double-sided tape on it. Now I'm going to fold both sides in towards that line. There we go. Now I'm going to place double-sided tape on both of these sides. And I'm going to sandwich my zipper tape in between. And yes, it's a long, but we can trim that off later. I'm not concerned about that. Okay. And I'm just placing it right in the center. Alright, and I'm going to go and get this stitched together at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Alright, there we go. Now we're going to set this aside for now. Okay, so let's get the lining done really quick. So I've cut my lining. You know, honestly, I don't remember if I modified the size of my Heidi Clutch because it's been so long, but just in case I did, I'm going to tell you that what I'm making today is 12 inches wide. And because of that, I wanted to do a little slip pocket. This is 12 inches long by, or 12 inches long way by 6 inches. And this is going to be just a tiny little slip pocket. I'm going to fold it right sides touching. And I'm going to sew around the entire thing, leaving a hole at the bottom or along the side, wherever you choose to be able to turn it out, okay? I'm doing this at about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. I'm going to trim the edges just to help it turn smoothly, or for the edges to be smooth when I turn it out, you know. I've never interfaced this this material, this canvas. It feels really good with an interface on it. It feels almost like I don't know, like a really good linen, like a really thick canvas. I like the way it feels. I could make a bag out of this. The exterior, I would be okay with that. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, get the corners pushed out. Okay, and that bottom piece, I'm just gonna tuck it under. And I'll close that up when I'm attaching it to the lining. Alright, so the top of it, I'm going to add a top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. Alright, I'm going to grab one of my lining pieces. Find the center of my pocket. Put a little indentation so I know where that is. And there's the center of my lining. I'm going to measure down 1 inch. I'm going to measure down 1.5 inch. I'm actually going to put this a little bit lower. Alright, I'm going to put it down 2 1/4 inches. That way a cell phone could fit in it.